Somebody said money makes the world go round. I don't know if that's true, but I know if you don't have any, it sure makes life difficult. We've been talking a little bit about adulting and what it's like for you once you leave being a teenager and you assume your adult life, how things really change and things can get pretty difficult and sometimes they can get downright complicated. And nothing is more sure than being complicated when it comes to finances. When I first was a teenager and even earned a little bit of money or had money come my way, most of the time my dad would keep that money for me. And oftentimes he would show me in a ledger. He had my name and he had how much money that I had. I never really had my own bank account, but I was able to buy things or, spend some money. But generally, the money was not in my pocket and it wasn't in my personal bank account because I didn't have one. Most of that money came through the avenue of my dad. And so I never really handled money personally. And then once I went to college, I didn't open a bank account. That probably was a mistake. What I would do is I would cash my checks and then I would use that money not only to pay my college bill, but I'd use it for different things, going out to eat or clothing or other weekend activities. And I found out really fast that I was not very well prepared for this idea of adulting and finances. My dad was a little bit secretive about his personal finances, and he never really shared a lot of things about how much stuff cost, a car payment or rent. And he never really talked to me at length about how much stuff cost, and never really had a long conversation about how to budget money or how to save. Now, I have to say, my dad was great at it. And we learned after my dad passed away that he had done an incredible job with the little bit of money that he made every month. And he was able to save a good amount of money and leave that for my mom and other expenses. But he never shared that information with me. And so when I became an adult, I was kind of ill prepared for some of the big challenges that came in regards to money. I was just unprepared for finances. And can I say this to you? Making financial mistakes as you begin to adult is very normal. Take a deep breath and don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a little bit of credit. And making financial mistakes as a young adult is normal. However, if you're already creeping up to that 30 years old and you're still making the same financial mistakes, then maybe it's time for you to learn a little bit of how you can do a better job adulting when it comes to your money. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might." So I have a couple thoughts about this idea of finances and handling your money that I think it may be very basic information that you already know, but I think this can help. First of all, nothing beats a regular job. Nothing beats a regular job. If I had one saving grace from the time that I was 17 and graduated from high school all the way through till today, it has been my ability to be able to work and have a consistent job so that I have a steady income coming in. That's important for you. Build a good work history. Sometimes you may have to leave a job. Sometimes job situations get tough, or maybe you get offered another job that is genuinely a better opportunity for you. And find a way to leave that job in a good way where you have a good work history and a good reputation. Don't skip work. Don't take days off just for frivolous things. Really carefully weigh that in the work atmosphere that we live in today, it's so important that you are building a solid work history, because what's going to happen in a very short time, really in the matter of a year or two, you're going to rise to the top. If you have a good work ethic, you know how to show up to work, and when you're there, you have a good attitude and you just do your job, you're going to find that that's really going to help you when it comes to your financial opportunities, because it's going to be able to get you in a position where you can earn more, which certainly is going to help you move up in this idea of financing. Another thought is every single dollar counts, both spending and earning. Some folks are real quick, like on a Friday, to take 2 or 3 hours off because they have some weekend activity they want to get going. And every time you do that, that's going to hit you in your wallet, especially if when you're away from work, you're doing activities that cost money. It's almost like a double cost there. So every single dollar counts when you're earning the money and when you're spending the money. If I could do one thing is just put the brakes a little bit on the spending, because sometimes we spend beyond what we're earning, and that's a problem. So sometimes I notice as you're adulting, sometimes when people are in a hole financially, they have a tendency to spend more money. And here's what they'll say: well, what's another $10? I'm so far behind, it doesn't really matter. But no, that does matter. And here's how. Let's say you're going to spend $10 on something, but you're going to take that money and put it on a credit card. Well, not only are you spending $10, but now you're $10 further in the hole. So actually you're $20 behind. So that $10 decision becomes a $20 decision. And as you know, if that was a $50 or $100 decision, that just really adds up super fast. So every single dollar counts. When you spend super carefully. Another thought is that clothing and shoes really add up. I never, as a young adult, kind of jumped on the bandwagon of having to be real trendy with my clothes, and some people are. But man, when I would go look at a pair of jeans, and back then the thing was these Levi's, I look at a pair of Levi's and think, man, am I really going to spend $50 on a pair of Levi's? Sure, they're a little nicer, they do fit a little bit better, but not $50 worth, And so oftentimes when I'm buying clothing, I'll really weigh the decision, and I'll think about the quality versus the cost and try to buy stuff. And every once in a while I'll buy something that's name brand. That's not the problem. But if you're buying $50 jeans and $30 t-shirts and you get paint on them, that's a lot of money down the drain. Another thought is to buy today and pay today. Man, if you can't pay for it today, then don't buy it today and wait till you can pay for it, because credit cards and credit card purchases are really going to add up. Borrow money if you need to have a car. You got to have wheels, and borrow money if you need to buy a house. That's proper debt. But everything else, just make it a habit of paying up front. Don't borrow money from your friends to buy things that are just what I would call purchases that are just consumer purchases. And one last piece of advice that I think will really help you: never, never, never co-sign on a loan or a lease for a friend. Never. Just don't do it. Sometimes I'll have people ask me, and I may give them $20 and say, I can't help you, but here, I'm going to give you $20 to help you out in your situation, but don't put your name with somebody else's name, because what's going to happen is they're going to put your finances in jeopardy. I hope these thoughts will help, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about this matter of adulting and finances. God bless you.